It's with great pleasure that we are here today to dedicate this park in honor of the Landau and the Vries family. It is people like yourselves who have allowed KKL-JNF, the Jewish National Fund, to do its job for what is now 115 years. KKL-JNF was founded at the 5th Zionist Congress in 1901, and since then has worked tirelessly in order to make Israel greener, to make Israel more pleasurable. We have done over 4,000 parks throughout the country. We have done just recently over 8,000 kilometers of bicycle tracks, which is one of the new things here in Israel, is riding bicycles. We have 240 water reservoirs where we have taken water from communities. We clean that water and put that into a reservoir. It frees up fresh water so that that water in the reservoir can be used for agriculture. And it is my pleasure to have been with the organization now 25 years. It is now, as we're coming to our 115th birthday, we are very, very proud of the fact that as Israel has changed over the years, so has our organization. And we have adapted ourselves to fit in to what it is that Israel needs. The site where we are at the moment is called Gilat. KKL-JNF has 3 nurseries in Israel. We're a very, very small country, but we have a very, very diverse weather and very, very diverse geographical areas. So this is the southern region, central area. We have a nursery here that specifically grows trees for this area. We have one in the center of the country and we have one in the north as well that grow trees specifically for those particular regions. In addition, we have our regional offices here. Our forest rangers are based here. You'll be talking to one, Danny David, who will be Ben David, who will be talking to you a little bit later about the actual project, the actual tree planting project that we're doing here. Part of that project here is we are trying to make, as I said, Israel a little bit greener. Research has shown us here that when you plant a forest, it changes the weather pattern for the area. We have very near here a place called the Yatir Forest, the largest planted forest in Israel. And that Yatir Forest has meant, since that we've created that, and it's been there now for nearly 40 years, we keep adding to it, but the weather in the Yatir area has changed. There is more rain, more precipitation. What happens is as the clouds come across, the trees draw the rain, and so we find that there is a higher rainfall now than there was before we planted the forest. To that end, Beersheba, which is the capital of the Negev, I don't know if you've been to Beersheba or not, especially recently, we talk about the dream of David Ben-Gurion, the first Prime Minister of Israel, who used to dream about the Negev. The Negev is 60% of Israel, but today only houses 8% of the population. Beersheba is the capital city of the Negev. It used to be 6,500 people at the turn of the last century. 6,500 people. Today, 220,000 people live in Beersheba. If you haven't been to Beersheba in the last 5 years or so, you will not recognize the city. It is now modern, high-rise apartments, B'nai Beitcha, people building their own villas there. The whole city has changed its face. One of the things that we are very proud of, KKL-JNF, one of the things that we're very proud of is the Nahal. There is a of Beersheba. It's 8.5 kilometers long, and KKL-JNF has been involved now in making sure that that river is cleaned up, and now we have a park going all the way along with bicycle tracks. There's now a sports tech, which is a area with tennis courts and basketball courts and all those sorts of things. And at the moment they're now building an artificial lake that is going to be about 400 dunam, which is going to have like paddle boats and things like that. This is in the middle of Beersheba. This is Ben Gurion's dream today. It is totally, totally different. And what we found happening is that it's now drawing young people, instead of living in the expensive hustle and bustle of Tel Aviv, they can now come and they live in Beersheba. It's only a 50-minute ride in the train. There's now the fast train. And so it's absolutely changing the face of the Negev. So part of what we're doing is this project is building a green belt around Beersheba. A green belt of trees, of afforestation, that is going to allow the people in Beersheba to get out to nature a little bit. Because with all that building and all the high-rise, they still don't have the opportunity to do as we are doing today, to sit underneath some trees, even in the hot weather. And even though some of you are sitting in the, not quite in the shade, there are hats over here for people that want hats. But the fact that you can get out of your apartment, you can go and play in the forest, you can sit under a tree, you can do a picnic, you can have a walk. These are quality of life issues that are very, very important to us as human beings. And quite often we forget. I live in Jerusalem. Jerusalem doesn't have a lot of places where you can get out in the city and enjoy sitting under a tree. There are not a lot of trees in Jerusalem. But drive 10 or 15 minutes outside of Jerusalem and there is an abundance of forests and areas where we can enjoy ourselves, enjoy a bit of nature and get out of the concrete jungle, as we call it. So this is one of the things that I'm very, very proud of as far as the partnership that we have today to be able to help that. I've said enough. I would like now to invite you, Mr. De Vries, to please come up and say a few words.
Okay. Thank you. Dear family, dear representatives of this event, welcome to all of you. From all over the world, we are here today to celebrate, to inaugurate the family Landau, the Vries Park. Also in South Africa and New York, our cousins David, Michael and Wayne are looking forward to wonderful to see the various generations here. From the youngest, Nahmias, Tamar and Hagar, to the senior members of our family headquarters in Rehovot, Joseph and Alisa. I'm very glad that both of you are here today. Alisa and Joseph, I will take the opportunity to say a few words to you. We have known each other more than 60 years now. I remember very well your visits to Sneek, at the Grabadovstraat and Wagenbrugge. I was always looking forward to your visits, because you always brought something lekkers. Later I visited together with Philip the first time, and now I'm here for the third time. It has always been a pleasure to see you and to meet you, and I want to say thank you, Toda Rabba, Ma'ot Ma'ot, for all those years of love and generosity. Thank you. Now a few words about the park. First, why the park? For me there are two goals. It all started when I got my tree in Israel as a gift from my parents for my 16th birthday. This is the certificate. Sweet. Something else, I believe. Did you get the car?
Plastic one.
Oh, plastic one. It's a good start. A tree is planted in Israel by G. De Vries and L. De Vries Landau, and somewhere in Israel. I don't know where, but I understood that the JNF, the KKL, is searching for new goals in their organization. Maybe they can start looking for my tree. One more thing, when I spoke about you, I sent you a picture of your family visit to Sneek in 1960. I have it here. We are all a bit younger. I sent it to you by email, but you can look at it later on. With the four brothers. The tree, it's a very special gift to receive, and also I experienced it's a very special gift to give away. In the last years I gave to friends and colleagues trees on special occasions, and they all appreciate it very much. It must have been about 10 to 15 years ago that it flashed through my mind. a park in Israel for all our family members who died during World War II. Wouldn't that be a beautiful way to remember them? When I say died, of course it means murdered. Since that idea flashed through my head, among others, also my father and mother died, and earlier Aunt Rosa. So I thought, looking at the Landau family tree that my father made in 1983, that's this one. You can take a look at it later. It's really a tree he made. I found that the park should be honoring all family members who died, not only during the World War. So this was my first goal, to commemorate the family members. 15 years ago I could not realize the park, now luckily I can. A few months ago I started searching commitment with other family members, such as my brothers and cousins, from LA to New York to Johannesburg to Israel. And I got an enthusiastic response of all of them. During this process I also found that it should be a park for those who are alive today, for the present and future generations. This also in accordance to the Jewish tradition to celebrate life. And true to my mother's belief that we have to organize the nice things in life, because the bad things will happen to you anyway. And now we're here, almost ready to unveil the plaquettes. So these are the two goals for the park. Now a few words on the name of the park. At first I wanted it to name simply Landau Park. But when I searched the KKL website, I saw that there exists already a Landau Park named after a Rabbi Landau. And as we only have a Chazan in the family, I understood I should look further for an appropriate name. Then I thought of the Vries Landau, being the names of my father and mother that stood for decades on the nameplate at our house in Sneek. Already in the 50s, this nameplate read De Vries Landau. This during the time when it was customary that only the name of the man was displayed on the nameplates. Already then my father, Gerrit de Vries, understood how important it was to my mother, Leah Landau, to acknowledge her identity after a dark period that she was robbed of it. Lingering about the name made me decide that I wanted the name Landau to show first on the plaquette. As the first goal for me was to honor the family members who had passed away. So it became Landau de Vries. But even more important in my view than these names is that these names are preceded by the word family. Because it is my intention that this park is for all members of the family tree. So it's for all of you and your families. To conclude, a few words about the location of the park. The location of the family Landau de Vries Park near the Negev desert is chosen to honor my father, Gerrit de Vries. He was a keen supporter of Israel and was always happy to visit the family over here. He especially enjoyed the trips he made with Amos Shavit. Amos knew every stone in the Holy Land, just like men of today. But, as Jopie wrote me once, my father, being a devout Christian who read the Bible every day, surprised Amos many times with his knowledge of the biblical spots. My father was also very impressed by the agricultural developments in desert areas. When he visited a rose plantation, he saw with his own eyes the Bible verse from Isaiah come true. The desert shall bloom again as a rose. So this is why I chose our new park to be a part of the green belt around Beersheba. Being an environmental policymaker myself for 35 years, the goals for the green belt also are to me very worthwhile. And, to quote my brother Jacob, biologist and birdwatcher, we cannot emphasize enough the importance of improving biodiversity here in this area by planting trees. The trees will positively influence flora and fauna, which is very relevant as Israel is an important transit area for thousands of birds. So therefore, this is the place for the new park. Now we have one more thing to do, and it's to unveil the plaquette. I'm very happy that I can do that now. But to do that, I would like two people to assist me. On the website of the KKL, I read that Father Abraham, not a Dutch singer, but our archfather was the first man to plant a tree in Beersheba. Luckily, we have at least two Abrahams here, so I'd like to ask my cousin Abraham Ide, Avi, and Philip, my brother, to assist me in unveiling the plaquette. Thank you.
Please.
Hallo. Wij dan de kant?
So 1, 2, 3, and we do it. 1,
1, 2, 3.
3. As part of our tradition, when we unveil a plaque here, we would also like to give you a memory of that to take back with you home. So it is with great pleasure I present to you this certificate that reads, the Family Landau de Vries plaque is dedicated to all family members who have passed away before, during and after World War II. May it be a source of inspiration to present and future generations.
Thank you. Well, this is it. Thank you.
Okay. Where do we go from here? For those of you that are interested, we are taking a tour, for those that are interested, out to the forest area to have a look and see. The area is reachable only by four-wheel drive, so we've got some four-wheel drive vehicles available, so that you're going to be able to go out. So it's limited space, so for those of you that don't want to go, we're going to go to this curved building over here, which is the Nahmias hall, which has very serious air conditioning going on inside. And we're going to be having lunch there in about three-quarters of an hour's time. Okay, just to give you an idea. Each one of you will receive in the hall over there a folder of some information with a map of the park and some printed information as well. All right, so thank you very much for your attendance. That's a good idea. Let's do a family photograph here with in front of the sign.